Teddy Atlas comes up with his own pound for pound list, and somehow he has Lomachenko listed ahead of Teofimo Lopez, who just beat him. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. Yeah, we definitely working. Now, there's been a lot of talk. Actually, before I get started, ESPN Plus, use my link in the description. ESPN Plus, they got a ton of original content, docuseries, documentaries, exclusives, BTS, archive boxing, and UFC fights for your viewing pleasure. Use my link. It does help the channel when you guys click on that link, and it gives you a ton of content. You can get ESPN Plus as a standalone app, or you can bundle it, ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus, all three apps, one price, $12.99. Now, back to this list. There's a lot of people after Lomachenko lost, they're making excuses. There's this emergence of a bunch of people in boxing making up pound for pound lists. And to me, that goes to show you something. It goes to show you how like certain fighters are treated in the sport of boxing. For example, Lomachenko loses, and because this was their god, and they placed Lomachenko so high up that when he loses, it creates this new shift in the paradigm, and they feel that the whole boxing scene and the world of boxing has been tilted on its axis and these types of things because one fighter lost, which we knew, if we're smart, going into the fight, that this was a difficult fight for Lomachenko, right? The only people who really believe that Teofimo had absolutely no shot usually carry a biased agenda, because how does a kid have no shot? He's younger. He had an amateur career. He had a wonderful pro career so far in his early career. You know, he just came off the Richard Comey, so why would you not give him no shot? So it goes to show you the mentality of thinking when it comes, in the flawed thinking, when it comes to these pound for pound lists. They only feel the need to rearrange and shuffle the list when certain fighters lose. But then you had a double header with Jermell and Jamal Charlo, and they just put up stellar performances. They definitely both look better against their opposition than Lomachenko looked versus Teofimo. Lomachenko did jack-ish for 7 rounds, and then he showed some signs of life, too little, too late. And now, after crying robbery and foul, he's saying he was injured. How can you have your cake and eat it too? Which one is it? You were robbed and the judges got it wrong? Or this is my excuse for why I look like that and this is why I lost? And again, you see this categorically with certain fighters, and oftentimes it's fighters with the complexion for the protection. When the Charlos both win on one night in meaningful fights for their division, nobody except for a select few people in new media may add them onto the pound for pound list. Or when Errol Spence beats Sean Porter, you didn't really see people moving Errol Spence up or shifting him. But then Lomachenko loses and it's the end of the world. They act like one of the Beatles died. It's crazy how that works. Now, Teddy Atlas, he lost me. First, he said years ago in 2017, at the fight where Crawford became undisputed by knocking out violently Julius Ndongo, a guy who was bigger, a guy who had some attributes over Crawford. He had momentum from the Troyanovsky knockout, etc. Teddy Atlas is the same guy that told active at the time Andre Ward and Terrence Crawford that, hey, there's this guy named Lomachenko, and even though you just did that and you, Andre Ward, beat Sergey Kovalev, a fight where you moved up in weight and battled adversity with the knockdown, I'm still putting Lomachenko ahead of you with 8-1, with an 8-1 record. You know, hey, Terrence Crawford, even though you just knocked out this guy who was bigger than you and you had already beaten Victor Postal and Gamboa and moved up in weight, I'm still putting this Lomachenko fella ahead of you. Now, look at this tweet from Teddy Atlas and his verified page. It says, when a top exec is replaced, there are changes throughout the company. With Lomachenko losing, right, boxing's pound for pound gets shaken up. Once again, when certain fighters lose, then now we have to shuffle the list. But when certain fighters win, they don't shuffle the list. Okay. He says he drops while Lopez enters the top 10. Here's my new cabinet. So this is his top 10. Crawford, number 1, who he said Andre Ward and Lomachenko, or excuse me, Andre Ward and Crawford were behind Lomachenko. Now he's finally giving Crawford props. Number 1, Crawford. Number 2, Canelo. Number 3, Inoue. How? Listen, I like Inoue. I like him. He had a broken orbital, damaged eye socket, broken orbital, fighting what most people thought was a faded Donaire. Keep in mind, Donaire in the World Boxing Super Series, and I love Donaire also. I'm from the Bay Area. He's from the Bay Area. I've interviewed him. He's a great guy. I've followed his whole career. But keep this in mind. When he was in the World Boxing Super Series, you got to really, to follow my channel, you got to really know your boxing. When Donaire was in the World Boxing Super Series, 2 times, not once, but twice, he advanced in the World Boxing Super Series kind of based on technicalities, right? He fought the Ryan Bartlett or Burnett. I forgot the dude's name. He retired anyway. But anyway, the Ryan UK dude, and the guy got some kind of freak injury, so the fight didn't get to end a traditional way, right? Then he was supposed to fight against the Mayweather Promotions fighter, and he pulled out. So he had Stephen Young was a late replacement who stepped up and he knocked him out bad. But that wasn't the guy he was supposed to beat. He was supposed to have to fight the Mayweather Promotions fighter, which would have probably been a tougher fight. So Donaire got to advance to the end, and some of it was technicalities, but it's not Donaire's fault. So I'm not blaming him. I'm not victim blaming. He didn't do anything wrong. I'm just telling you that's how he got to the final. Then he gets to the final and he breaks Inoue's orbital and his nose. And how is he number 3 based off of that's his last fight, his last performance? How is he number 3? Then Teddy Atlas got Loma at number 4, and he put Teofimo Lopez at number 8. So how is Loma, who we just watched lose to Teofimo Lopez, how is he 4 paces ahead of Teofimo Lopez, who just beat him? Like if Loma is this great and 400 amateur, that amateur stuff has nothing to do with the pro rankings. His amateur doesn't transition. It's non-transferable like the franchise belt is supposed to be. There's no way you can transfer your amateur success and somehow copulate that into what you're doing as a pro. Because if that was the case, then Audley Harrison, he got a gold medal. So he need to be ranked number 1 pound for pound because he got a gold medal and Wilder don't. Tyson Fury don't. Like, come on, bro. So how you have Loma at number 4 and he just lost? Number 5, Spence. So Spence is doing great in his career, and nobody has made him ever look like Lomachenko looked versus Teofimo ever, where he was gun shy, hesitant, apprehensive, couldn't pull the trigger, and couldn't really do anything until the later rounds where it was do or die, and he pretty much needed a knockout to win. But somehow Spence is behind Loma. Then he has Usyk behind Spence at 6, Pacquiao at 7, Teofimo Lopez. Somehow he beat Lomachenko, but he's behind Lomachenko. Beterbiev, who is he beat? And I like Beterbiev, but his best win is Alexander Vostok, who didn't have no crazy resume. It was a good fight. I understand Vostok was trained by Teddy Atlas, so maybe he thinks that's the best win ever because his fighter got destroyed by Beterbiev. And then 10, he has Fury, who people think cheated. And it looks like he cheated with the glove. Horrible list. And I just had to expose it and bring it up. It's crazy. Like, my thing is this. What is the point of a competitive sport like boxing and a competition where you lose and the loser gets coddled? The loser retains his positioning. Whatever we viewed the loser as before, he remains when you have the complexion for the protection that is. That doesn't make sense. So what's the point of Teofimo Lopez beating Lomachenko if he's always going to stay behind Lomachenko? They have the same amount of fights. Lomachenko has 16 fights or whatever, and so does Teofimo. So now that Teofimo dog walked Lomachenko, how's he 4 steps ahead of him? What's the point of fighting? It reminds me of when Max Kellerman said the foolishness and said that Floyd Mayweather is not the best fighter of this generation, and Pacquiao, who Floyd clearly beat, is is way better, you know, he's the fighter of this generation. Bro, this bias is looking horrible. And that's why you see Jermell Charlo, he said us, hey, you heard how they did Lions only on the pound for pound list? BS. 3 of the 4 belts don't mean ish, I guess. You know what I'm saying? This man just unified with Jason Rosario, who fought a great fight and was coming for Jermell Charlo. He was not playing. He masked his pain very well, great poker face, and Charlo had to fight him smart and fight him the right way. Through Charlo's skill set and great coaching from Derrick James, he pulled it off, stopped the man. Lomachenko had no knockdowns. He didn't stop TEOFIMO. He said he was going to make TEOFIMO eat his words, and he didn't do none of that. Meanwhile, the Charlos just dominated their opponents. Well, I can't say Rosario was dominated, but the end result was spectacular. The man was convulsing on the ground. But somehow, lists like Teddy Atlas emerged, and the guy who beat the guy is way behind the guy who just lost and looked bad. You know, Beterbiev has one real significant win. He's a monster, crazy power, but the Charlos can't make the list, but Beterbiev can. Fury can cheat and be on the list. Horrible. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Bro, new media, I'm coming for everything that they said they couldn't have. You know, y'all got to support real boxing and good boxing talk. I don't know if Teddy Atlas, I don't know what he's going through. I don't even think he works for ESPN anymore. He does his little podcast or whatever, but this is a horrible list. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. We working. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.